And there's this. Elon Musk is lashing out at Twitter again over the number of fake accounts on the site. Lauren, he wants a discount, doesn't he?
Absolutely. So this is the Twitter exchange that's getting some buzz. He goes, they, as in Twitter, still refuse to explain how they calculate that 5% of daily users are fake. So then a user chimes in and says, well, if 25% of the users are bots, then the Twitter acquisition deal should cost 25% less. Absolutely, responds Musk. But he does acknowledge that transparency is not in Twitter's best interest, because if they reduce that key metric, daily active users, that advertisers like, then yeah, they'd be worth less. It kind of just makes sense, right?
Yes.
So they're not going to be very transparent here.
And the stock is at $37 a share. He's offering $54.20, or at least he was a few weeks ago.
He overpaid. In his eyes.
Yeah, he did. All right. Vivek Ramaswamy is with us this morning. He knows a thing or two about this whole thing. Vivek, does this deal get done at a much lower price? And what's standing in Musk's way to stop him taking it at a much lower price?
So look, I can give you my prediction. I think the deal is going to get done at a slightly lower price. This isn't an uncommon situation, Stuart, where you have a buyer that ultimately has some level of buyer's remorse. There's a major change in market conditions, as we saw here with the massive decline in tech stocks since he signed the definitive offer to acquire the company. At the same time, if he really wants this deal, I think Twitter's going to be able to offer it at only a slightly lower price because he has a binding contract in which he waived detailed due diligence. And so are the arguments about the bots the reason for the lower price he's asking for, or the justification? Let's call a spade a spade. It's a justification. That being said, this is not an uncommon fact in the land of M&A. That's what I think history suggests to us, that assuming he still wants to own Twitter, which I believe he does, I think he's going to end up getting it for a slightly lower price, not a much lower price.
A slightly lower price than what? I mean, it's at $37.82 right now. Lower than that, or what?
No, I mean slightly lower price than the price at which he signed a definitive offer to buy the company. I mean, right now they have a binding contract with damages, et cetera, attached to it, in which he waived detailed due diligence. So that's the price at which this is already contracted to transact. I think that in light of the market conditions, Twitter's board has to look at the fact that, let's say Elon does walk away, even if he does have to pay $1 billion in damages, Twitter could have a lot more downside even than that. So even though the board won't be talking about it, that's going to be in the back of their mind. So that's why I predict it'll settle at a slightly lower price than $54.20.
Okay, let's talk quickly about this disinformation board. Has it been paused? I mean, in other words, could it come back again in the future? Or has it been just finished completely?
It appears to be that they're going full force forward with the plans. And Stuart, I predicted this a couple of weeks ago when they initially announced their plans to potentially put this on pause. I think it's not that hard. Listen to what the White House press secretary said. She said, our plans will still proceed. The error, I think they realized, was drawing too much attention to it. In fact, history teaches us that most governments that want to censor the speech of their citizens tend to be pretty non-transparent about their efforts to do it.
Yes.
So perhaps the Biden administration learned their lesson and realized they shouldn't have been talking about it so much. But it appears, even on recent news reports, suggesting that this is just going to proceed under different leadership from Nina Jankowicz.
I don't know how it would work. I mean, I simply can't. How does it work? Can you explain it to me?
Well, in a certain sense, Stuart, we've been seeing this informally happen over the last couple of years.
Yes.
The government issues threats to private companies to take down speech that the government disfavors. The government induces those companies with carrots to be able to take down speech that they call misinformation or hate speech. In fact, Jen Psaki, the old White House press secretary, used to brag from the White House presser room how the White House and tech companies used to coordinate on deciding how to take down certain kinds of misinformation. My whole view has been that if it is state action in disguise, then the Constitution still applies, and that when companies or private actors behave on behalf of the government, they're bound by the same constraints as the government. So in a certain sense, Stuart, this is nothing new. They're just formalizing it and taking it to the next level.
Got it. A fine explanation, Vivek, and I appreciate that very much so, and so do our viewers. Vivek Ramaswamy. See you again soon. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.